Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Friday, August 10th. This is Gina McGuire. Over the next couple of days, we will continue to have increases in fire potential. Today, the main issue will be the continued hot, dry, and unstable conditions with hanes of 6 across most of the geographic area. We'll also have winds start to increase along the Sierra front with southwest winds gusting to around 30 miles per hour, and also thunderstorms moving a little bit further north into parts of the Arizona Strip, southwest Utah, and southern Nevada, which will be on the drier side. As we move through Saturday and a dry cold front approaches, winds will increase over western Idaho into northwest Nevada, and also thunderstorms will build further north across the central Utah mountains. By Sunday, we'll still have gusty winds and dry conditions to deal with across the north and west, and thunderstorms expanding. Therefore, fire potential will be increasing over the coming days. Over the last 24 hours, we only saw a few isolated lightning strikes over the southern areas of the Great Basin. Most of these were on the drier side in Nevada, but we did see some decent amount of precipitation in parts of the Arizona Strip. Overall initial attack yesterday was light across the Great Basin. However, we continue to see growth on our many large fires across the area. Over the last 7 days, precipitation has been focused on the southern half of the area and generally been below or near normal, with very dry conditions continuing in the north and west. How this has affected our ERCs. ERCs continue to climb with these very hot, dry conditions in place across the Great Basin, with most of the area over the northern third of the basin above the 90th or 97th percentile. Even areas in Utah that are normally much lower for this time of year are above the 90th percentile as well. Looking at some of our ERC charts, up in Idaho and even in the higher terrain of Utah, we are seeing record ERCs for the time of year. And again, this is true for most of Idaho, northern Nevada, and much of Utah. So even though Utah ERCs are lower than what we saw at our peak, for the time of year they are hitting historic highs after these very dry conditions. The satellite loop from this morning shows the strong ridge of high pressure dominant across the Great Basin, continuing with very hot and dry conditions and high hanes today. You can see the moisture lingering over the southwest and in the tropics, and this moisture will gradually work its way north as the ridge moves eastward, and this strong area of low pressure off the northwest coast moves east as well, bringing a change in our weather pattern to gusty winds to parts of the west and north and a return of thunderstorms as we move through the next 7 days. Looking at the weather pattern for later today, much of the same today in many areas with strong ridge in place and hot, dry conditions with high hanes. So we do have the high risk for the very dry, hot, and unstable conditions over Idaho and much of northern Utah into northeast Nevada. Along with the high hanes, we will see winds increasing in California and to western Nevada, so we do have high risk for winds as well. Looking at the weather conditions for today, you can see where those high hanes are, generally over much of the Great Basin, with the exception of the far south where moisture and thunderstorms will start returning. Today, winds will mainly remain light to moderate, with the exception of along the Sierra front into western Nevada, where southwest winds will increase and gust near 30 miles per hour with very dry conditions. On Saturday, the ridge of high pressure starts to move towards the east as this area of low pressure moves into the northwest, which will bring that dry cold front through northern and western areas later on Saturday. Out ahead of this front, winds will be increasing with southwest winds initially over southwest Idaho and western Nevada, and they will be shifting to the northwest and still remain breezy Saturday night. So we will have the gusty, dry conditions during the day and then the wind shift later in the evening. Also, lightning will be building further north into Utah, mainly in the higher elevations, but will certainly be affecting our large fires across Utah. Looking at Saturday, you can see the image on the left where those thunderstorms will be moving north. Again, more on the isolated to widely scattered fashion, but likely on the drier side. Also in the wind image on the right, you can see where those gusty winds move into Idaho and Nevada. Looking at Sunday, the trough of low pressure moves across the north, pushing the cold front across Idaho. We still have those windy conditions to deal with, both ahead and along the front. And then we will see thunderstorms push further north into much of Nevada, Utah, and the Arizona Strip. And we are indicating that with a high risk for lightning in areas that have been very critical and very dry over the northern half of Utah into northeast Nevada. We will continue to watch areas over western Nevada. We still may see some breezy winds, but we also may start to see some lightning activity as well. On Sunday, you can see where that lightning picture is, generally over the southern half of the Great Basin, with more isolated activity into northern Utah and northeast Nevada. On Sunday, winds generally will be on the moderate side, still breezy up across Idaho for another day, and then all the winds over the southern areas of the Great Basin are near thunderstorms and more due to gusty outflow winds, which will be a big threat as these storms initially develop in the very dry air. Overall forecast amounts of precipitation, initially these storms will be on the drier side, but we will see some moisture start to increase, especially over the southern half of Utah into the Arizona Strip. As we move into early next week, thunderstorms push further north into Idaho and much of Nevada and Utah and the Arizona Strip. So we have highlighted some areas for critical lightning on Monday over northeast Nevada, northwest Utah, and southern Idaho. But these areas of lightning may need to be expanded further west in Nevada and further north into Idaho, depending on the pattern. In any case, we will see more abundant lightning across the Great Basin as we go later in the weekend and next week. On Tuesday, thunderstorms continue pushing north and east, and again, mainly over eastern Idaho, as those thunderstorms initially move in Monday and Tuesday will be a big concern, as obviously fuels are very dry in those areas. We may see some drier air start to work its way into the far western areas of the Great Basin by Tuesday. By Wednesday, still thunderstorm activity over the eastern half of the area. We don't have any high risk, as some storms might moisten up some areas, but we will continue to watch this as we get towards the middle of the week. And by Thursday, that drier air works into much of Nevada and into Idaho again, so we will see a return of dry air with thunderstorms still continuing in the east. Forecast amounts of precipitation, again, fairly spotty with these thunderstorms, but the best chance for more significant wetting rains at times will be over the southern half of Utah and the Arizona Strip, with areas north and west kind of being hit or miss for some of these heavier thunderstorms. The 8 to 14 day outlook takes us into the third week of August, still looking at above normal temperatures and near normal precipitation. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.